this ever happened to you? You've woken up in the morning, you've looked at the mirror, and suddenly you don't recognize who you see. Mr. Coordinator, Toastmaster, guests, and fellow speech crafters. This happened to me a few months ago. It was a dark morning. I woke up, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I no longer recognized the person on the other side. I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew that the person was me, but I didn't relate to what I saw. I saw a 34-year-old guy with a receding hairline and a paunch. And I told myself that this doesn't look like me. At least this is not the image I have of myself. And that got me thinking, what's the reason for the gap between this perception and reality? And when I got down to thinking about it, I realized that the last 13 years of my work life have passed by so quickly. It's been so hectic. It's been so fast-paced that those whole 13 years have passed by in a blur. In fact, I remember more about my school and college days than I remember about these last 13 years that I've spent working. In fact, our lives are so fast-paced. We are in a state of perpetual motion. If some of you have seen a hamster running in a wheel, hamster is like a small rat that keeps running in a wheel. Our lives have become like that. I'm sure if you stop the wheel and ask the hamster, Mr. Hamster, why are you running? I'm sure he won't have an answer for that. I was in London a few years ago. It was a Sunday morning. I was reading the newspaper, and the results of the 12th standard had just been announced. That week. And so this particular article had interviewed five of the toppers in the UK. And the article was about the plans that the students had for the future. I don't remember the individual plans, but there was one common thread across all these plans, and that was that each of these students was taking a year off after the 12th standard. It's called a break year, and it's apparently very common in the UK. Now, what do they do in this break year? It's a year in which the students take time to pursue their hobbies, they pursue their interests, and if they're lucky, they get to know what they want to do the rest of their lives. For example, one girl, she was interested in learning Spanish, so she would spend a year in Spain learning Spanish. One boy was good at playing the guitar, so he would spend a year playing with his group, with his rock group, and if things worked well, he would continue, else he would come back and join college. And as the saying goes, go west. I went west a few years later. I was in the US. I was in a city called Houston. A customer of mine invited me to his house on Christmas Day for lunch. And I met his son. His son is 26 years old. He's 26 years old and he was doing his third year of engineering. And I must have been surprised he noticed that. And he told me that after the 12th standard, he had spent 5 years surfing on the beach. And why did he do that? Because he liked surfing. And after his third year in engineering, he would take again a year off and he would go backpacking through Europe. So I was a little surprised, I was quite intrigued. I asked some of my friends in the US who were studying there, and they told me that it's quite common among the Americans. An Indian guy would go to the US, he would do his masters in 2 years, he would start working, get married, get his green card and settle down. That would be the end of his learning. Whereas an American guy, he will take 4 years to do his masters. That's because he'll take a number of breaks. Then he'll work for a while, then he'll come back to his PhD, then again he'll work, he'll take a break, again do his second PhD. So by the time an Indian and an American are 50 years old, the level of achievement will be quite different. So again, why am I saying all this? Coming back to our lives, I think there's a lot that we can learn from this. Let's take the remote control of our lives in our hands. Let's press the pause button. Let's breathe a while. Let's rewind and look at where we have been in life, what experiences we have been through. Let's appreciate where we've been. Let's appreciate where we are. And then I think we'll be able to better plan where we want to be. Life is short, so let's try to live it well. There's a saying that says, we might run, we might stumble, we might fall, we might walk in life. But let's take moments off to look at a rainbow whenever we get the chance. Thank you.